Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking figure news. That is right. We got this even earlier than I thought that we were going to. Tonight, you are probably going to be seeing this in the morning, but last night, Wednesday night, we got some, what I presume, our leaks from NYCC, because nothing has technically been announced yet, and look at your screen, bro. Look at what we're looking at right here. Do you see what I'm looking at here? Do you see that bad boy right there? That would be one big fat orange Piccolo SH figure arts figure, my boy. Now, we're going to look at this from a bunch of different sources. So, shout out to Havoc Toys for sort of compiling everything that we have here. And of course, it seems that this individual was who sent them the actual pictures, considering that on this post it says thanks for the pic. Maybe they just got it from somebody else, or I would assume they probably can't post it if they're at NYCC, because you know they'll be getting the boot real quick. So of course Havoc has posted it here. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Orange Piccolo has been released in SH Figure Arts form as a little bit of a preview at NYCC. Of course, we will get official confirmation details about when this is going to come out and the official technical announcement of these probably today or tomorrow. As it stands right now, Tamashi has not tweeted anything about it, which makes sense because technically Comic-Con doesn't start until today, Thursday, and these images were obviously posted Wednesday. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything that we've got here. Obviously, this picture of Orange Piccolo is really cool. I'll talk about the figures in detail in a moment. Let's go over everything, though, because obviously this is pretty exciting. So this was the first picture that we saw. Look at this, like, oh, there he is. You have to take it real sneaky, right? Because obviously these are probably like backstage passes, considering that, you know, this was Wednesday. You can also see, funny enough, we talked about this in the last figure news video, a third form Frieza figure that Tamashi teased. So it's cool to see them officially doing that, and a base form Broly, which is so funny because I just talked about this in my Ultimate Gohan SH Figure Arts video from Superhero, and I was like, it would be kind of cool if they did a Broly with the black shirt, and lo and behold, here he is, right? So, of course, we have the picture of Piccolo. Here's third form Frieza. He actually looks really cool. It's going to be interesting to see how he actually articulates. You can see that obviously his legs have some articulation and his arms have the normal stuff, but his head, I'm sure, swivels. But it's going to be interesting to see that ab crunch there as well. It almost kind of looks like those shoulder pads sort of detach. So it'll be really interesting to see how this guy actually ends up, you know, being able to maneuver around. This we did see at what was it? San Diego Comic-Con. That's right. I was trying to think of the abbreviation before I thought of the full thing. That's why I got tripped up. You can also see Orange Piccolo back there and somebody taking a picture of it. Oops. But obviously here is the Pam prototype that we already saw. And here's what's interesting about this, right? Here's some more pictures. Look at how clear these pictures are, by the way. This is such a treat that we have pictures that are this clear this early, right? You can see that the insignia from the movie that's supposed to represent, I believe, like the Namekian tree, is printed on the back of Piccolo, which is really cool that they didn't forget to include that on there. There's a very nice picture of the man. He looks so bulky. He looks so good. Again, I'll talk about the figures in specific, mostly Orange Piccolo, in a moment here, but we're just kind of going over everything that we have. Very, very cool. Obviously, here is that booth with all of the different characters that come with a Dragon Ball. Look how big second form Frieza is. Holy cow, that man's a monster. Jeez. Here is a better picture of Broly. That is pretty cool. Honestly, what I'm probably going to do with this figure is buy this guy and then use the head from the Broly that we got. You know, because in the Fury Broly, right, it came with a Super Saiyan head and a base form head for Broly. So I'll probably use that head, honestly, and then stick it on this one. As well, I do want to give some credit, too. I think some of these images may have also come from this individual. They did basically a YouTube short with all the images that we basically just took a look at from Havoc. But Havoc just kind of had it, like, all nice and, you know, consolidated, basically, and that's where Baggy got his images from, was from that YouTube short. So I'll leave all this stuff linked in the description, of course. But the interesting thing that I wanted to know about Piccolo here and Pan, right? Because I know you also probably see the title Gohan Beast, and you're wondering when I'm going to talk about that. Actually, let's talk about that right now before I just give my little bit of thoughts on each of the figures, right? So this picture, you've probably seen that I've been sort of avoiding. What is interesting about all this is, so we now know that the 3 figures that are going to be the ones that we saw in the teaser, right, that Tamashii posted, right, this one right here, right, where it was like, oh, what are the 3 figures that are going to be shown off at MICC? And it turns out that, of course, you know, it ended up being Orange, Piccolo, Broly, and Pan. Now, Pan is kind of interesting because I was thinking it wouldn't be Pan, considering we saw her at SDCC, right? She was obviously a prototype. It also is kind of unknown if she is going to be an accessory or just her own figure. I mean, they did make Kid Goku her own figure, or his own figure, rather. So, I don't know. She definitely could be her own figure. It would be kind of interesting if she was an accessory to Orange Piccolo, which kind of wouldn't make sense because obviously it would make more sense with like a regular Piccolo, but it'll be interesting to see if they actually have her as just her own standalone figure. They're definitely going to have to include some accessories, I think, if that's the case, to make it worth whatever price that they decide to put. But these are the 3 figures, right? It is Piccolo, Pan, and Broly. So, this was the teaser that we got at the Orange Piccolo booth. Reveal in a month, Tamashii Nation's 2022 Tokyo event. So, this little teaser is basically telling us that they are going to be revealing a new SH Figuarts figure at this event in Tokyo in a month. If this is not Gohan Beast, I'm gonna go Beast mode. I'm going Beast mode. I think that this is basically all but confirmation that it's Gohan Beast. Obviously, this silhouette doesn't mean anything. This is just a silhouette that they use to represent that it's coming. It's like, oh, it's a figure. You know, this like doesn't tell us that it's not Cell Max or like that it's Joe from accounting, you know? Something like that, right? It's just a silhouette to represent a new figure coming. I think that basically everybody is thinking that this figure is going to be Gohan Beast. It only makes sense to me if this is going to be Gohan Beast, obviously considering that Orange Piccolo is literally right there behind him in the picture, right? So, you know, it would only make sense to me that it's going to be him. If it's not him, I think literally everybody and their mother will be disappointed. I think Tamashii knows that. I mean, they've probably seen all the comments on, you know, all the social media sites that have been posting this stuff already. Not to mention on their official post about this, you can see Piccolo, or people were talking about Piccolo already, right? So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see when this gets revealed in a month. Obviously, if it is Gohan Beast, I will definitely be doing a video specifically for that. But real quick, before we go, because that is basically everything that we have today, let me give you my thoughts on all the figures real quick. We're not going to really talk about Frieza because, of course, this video is more so about the superhero figures. I just figured I'd include him because, you know, like, he's literally in the image. In terms of Broly, right, I think Broly does look pretty cool. The one thing that I will say does look a little bit weird with him is his shoulders. His shoulders look very janky. Now, the thing to keep in mind with these figures, though, is that these are all prototypes, right? So these are not the final versions of the figure. We have seen many times with SH Figuarts figures on displays at events where they display a prototype version and then later on the actual figure looks much better. So, hopefully, the shoulders don't look like that. Because right now, or I guess you wouldn't even call those shoulders, because technically these are his shoulders, right? Like the collarbone, I guess that would be, right? Just looks very weird because it's like almost raised up. I don't know. That is definitely a little bit strange. It does kind of look like they just reused the bottom half from the other Broly, which I honestly would not be surprised if that's the case. They may have even reused the hands and the gauntlets from the other Broly, if I'm being honest with you, and basically just gave him a new top half. The only unfortunate thing with this is that obviously if you bought that original figure, it's going to be a little bit stinky buying this one because you're basically buying half of the same figure again. Which is kind of unfortunate, but I mean, obviously there's no real good way to do this unless they somehow engineered like removable armor on the original figure, and that's like definitely not possible with the current figure technology that we have, at least as far as I could think, right? So this is really the only way they can do it anyway. So that's just kind of how things are, right? In terms of Pan, like I said last time when we saw her figure on display, I think that she looks good, especially for a small little figure. This definitely won't have too much articulation, right? The knees, you can see there's a little line right there. Those will be articulated, and obviously her elbows, you can see are articulated because those are pushed up. I'm sure that you'll be able to twist her hands, twist her head. Her head will probably be on a ball joint if I had to guess. And then, of course, you know, you can probably move her feet. So I'm going to be curious, like I said, to see if this actually ends up becoming a figure that comes with other pieces, or what else they would include, because in terms of Pan, right, I don't really know what accessories they would give her. Like, literally all I could think of would be the water bottle, maybe, like, because obviously Piccolo and her train in the beginning of the movie, and, you know, they're both drinking the water together. Or maybe they have, like, it would be cool if they included the outfit from when Piccolo picks her up from school, right? If they literally just have the same head, and then maybe you could put the hat on there, and then they have the little school outfit, that would be adorable. And that would definitely make this figure a lot more worth it, because you kind of be getting two figures in one in that regard. But I do think this comment here is kind of interesting, that they kind of think that this will be sort of like an accessory pack for everybody else, that Pan will be in the box, but then it will be a bunch of accessories for like all the other figures that we're going to be getting for superheroes. So that would definitely be an interesting way to do it. However, that would also be kind of a slap in the face. I was trying to figure out the right phrase to use, because obviously with Gamma 1 and 2, you know, Gohan's parts were included in that, and those were premium figures. And if all the parts for all the other figures are just included in Pan, that's going to be kind of a yikes, I'm not going to lie. In terms of Orange Piccolo himself, though, let's talk about him. So, the back of the figure is actually something interesting to note. They do have the sort of newer way that they're doing the butt flaps now, which I'm honestly not the biggest fan of, but it's kind of not really something that I'm going to be like too, you know, about. I mean, it's a butt flap, bro. Who cares? With the actual paint application, I think it looks good, and I think they absolutely nailed the different, like, paint jobs, or the different, like, color schemes that are throughout this character, right? With the dark purple for the gi, the reds, the oranges, right? Very, very nice stuff. Oops, sorry, I meant to click the small one, not the big arrow there. One thing I do want to note about this figure that is a little bit worrying to me is that huge gapping on the back of his head, right? You can see that that is a huge gap between where his head meets up with the actual neck. And you can also see right there, you can see the joint that is sort of allowing his head to lean forward. If this is the only way that they can engineer it, then I suppose that is fine. I mean, the other thing about this would be if it was stuck on the neck, I would think it wouldn't be able to articulate as much. Although they could definitely make the neck a lot more articulated, which, funny enough, that's kind of what this looks like. It looks like that the neck is going to be actually articulated inside the body of the figure and not just the head, right? Which obviously a lot of modern SH Figure Arts figures, we have seen that on them, so it only makes sense if that is the case. I think that they pretty much nailed Piccolo's expression. I definitely really like this sort of, you know, stale, you know, sort of static, there we go, that's the right word, expression for my boy that they picked for him. This is basically like when Gamma punches him and he just kind of looks down at Gamma, right? That's basically what this expression is. So I think this fits very nicely. I'll be curious to see what they actually do with his other faces too, what they decide to give him. I'm assuming there's going to be some screaming faces and stuff like that. So that will be really cool, but otherwise, I mean, I think he looks good. It is interesting that it kind of looks like his legs lump up a little bit here, because this almost looks like a hump above his knees. I don't know if that's the case or if that's just the lighting in here, but that definitely kind of looks like how it looks in all these pictures. I suppose that's supposed to represent how baggy his pants are, but you would think that bulge would be sort of at his knees. Not sure on that one, honestly, and I will say this crack here between the sort of Namekian, whatever that is, that covers his arms and his body, right? And where it connects to the chest area, I think is definitely a little bit weird looking that there is that big of a gap there. So I hope they fix that on the final figure. I mean, I guess unless that's something to do with articulation, which I don't really see that being the case. But above all that, The only other thing that I will comment, and this was somebody who commented this on my YouTube community post, actually, where I posted these pictures of Piccolo initially. With the waist swivel, it's going to be interesting to see. Gosh dang, I'm sorry. I keep clicking on the big one. I hate how Instagram works. I'm sorry, bro. I'm a Twitter guy. With the waist swivel, right, I'm assuming it's just going to be able to go 360 on this top half here, but it kind of looks like that he's not going to be able to have any ab crunch whatsoever, and you're going to have to rely on the legs for that, because I don't know how you would even be able to move it unless you could like pop up the top and then move it down. But obviously then the gap on the back would be huge. So it'll be interesting to see this guy in proper articulation. I'm kind of hoping that Tamashii will release some official stuff with this tomorrow and maybe get to show off some of the articulation in like videos and stuff. I will save, I think, unless it's something else that's super big, probably the rest of the news that comes with MICC for the actual figure news video that I do every other week. But of course, because this was such a big deal, I wanted to make a video specifically on it. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Absolutely let me know what you think of this in the comment section below. I am so excited for this figure. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. My boy is finally free. Yes, now all we need is Gohan Beast, and we're cooking, baby. Have a good night, everybody, or I guess good morning in this case, and I'll see you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.